The best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed.
You know, at a certain point, if the culture really becomes that we're living in the world upside down, where everything that's good is considered bad and vice versa, are we the baddies?
Yeah.
Let's go to this. Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true, the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing, anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans.
That's him, Mikey Johnson?
Yeah. And
he's the speaker?
He is. And,
praise God. Damn, Mikey.
He's a nice guy, and I'm not against him, but I'm just saying, like, if you think the welfare of another country is the most important thing for you as one of the leaders of our country, third in line to the presidency, you have lost the thread, son, because it's not. Nothing is more important for the leaders of our country than our country and how its 350 million people are doing. So I was enraged by that. And people are like, oh, are you for Hamas? Of course I'm not for Hamas at all. I'm for America, actually. I shouldn't even have to answer that question. Yeah. Are you for Israel or Hamas? I mean, obviously I'm for Israel over Hamas, but that's irrelevant. I'm for America. And no one even asked that. And I feel deep resentment about that the concerns of this country are of no concern.
Right. It feels like our concerns don't even fucking matter anymore.
They don't matter.
That's why it makes me wonder, are we just a shell company for Israel? Are we just a shell company for China? Like, where are we anymore?
This is not how people talk about their own countries. This is a uniquely modern American phenomenon. It's like a sickness, a mental sickness, where some of our leaders, or would-be leaders, profess greater admiration and love for and pride in foreign countries than their own. It's just a crazy thing to say. Again,
we're supposed to say, oh, we're for Hamas sneak attacking and murdering a bunch of innocent people, or we're for Israel ethnic cleansing. No, how about this? I'm not part of your operation. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to watch my life ruined and my children's life ruined while you put your wreckage in my country. I demand Benjamin Netanyahu take 20 Palestinians in his house. And I demand his candy-ass son in Miami suit up in body armor and go to Gaza and fight these people or get the hell out of my world. And I don't say that because I hate Jews. I say that because I'm not a toilet bowl you sit on and on. I'm not here to eat your you got that?
However, then I thought, well, wait a second. If the biggest donors at, say, Harvard have decided, well, we're going to shut it down now, where were you the last 10 years when they were calling for white genocide? You were allowing this. And then I found myself really hating those people, actually. That you're okay with that? On what grounds were you okay with that?
And this is what I've been trying to explain to the pro-Israel lobby, that what you are seeing as lack of support is people that are asking the question is, where were you as we have endured all of this?
You were paying for it, actually.
Right.
You were paying for it.
You were paying for it.
You were calling my children immoral for their skin color. You paid for that.
And
so why shouldn't I be mad at you? I don't understand.
Can you feel that vibe shift in the videos? Could you imagine back in the aftermath of Charlottesville that anyone mainstream would go on to advocate for whites? Or even that they would accurately recognize the source of the anti-white narrative? It's hard to believe. I mean, we have Elon Musk naming them on Twitter right now. That's crazy. Ben Shapiro is apoplectic every day, furious that his shtick no longer works. He's an avatar for the growing sentiment amongst Jews globally that their Holocaust card seems to be maxed out. They swipe and swipe, but it's no longer approved at checkout to cover up whatever they feel like doing. That's the shift. You have credible blacks, that is to say more credible blacks than Kanye, telling Ben Shapiro that he is an emotional mess and he needs to calm down. We have people who would have never touched the JQ actually making the same points the alt-right and the DR have been making for years. You know, you have Glenn Beck out there saying that his life's purpose is to support Jews, and He identifies with their struggles so much that he wrote Netanyahu and asked for dual citizenship. Well, this is unpopular. And that's the shift I'm talking about. This simping for people who are at the root of everything we dislike is gross and unappealing. And that take is becoming more and more popular. You can feel this shift in the Republican presidential debates. America has a lot going on right now. But what do we hear instead? Non-stop simping for Israel. The most animated that any candidate will ever get is when they talk about Israel. Imagine if we had leaders that love this country as much as Nikki Haley loves Israel. Imagine how hard she would go to bat for us. Even Trump is not immune from this disease, by the way. Think about neoconservatism. It's no coincidence that neocons have taken a massive PR hit over the years. Mark Levin has even called the term neocon a pejorative for Jews, an anti-Semitic slur, if you will. Because neocons were Jewish Democrats that left the party because they felt like it wasn't hawkish enough for Israel. Neocons are Jews that try, and quite successfully, I might add, to sway the U.S. into supporting and fighting wars on Israel's behalf against Israel's enemies. Neocons are so unpopular at this point, they can barely make a dent in the public perception of themselves. This vibe shift might be the most white-pilling thing I have to offer. On paper, 2023 should have been a relatively quiet and routine non-election year. Presidential campaigns haven't reached their fever pitch yet, and we aren't in the middle of the drama that political campaigns usually bring as they enter the homestretch. In the past, during the year before a presidential campaign, the media is obsessed with the day-to-day actions of the current president, especially one in their first term and seeking re-election. But 2023 has been different. A shift has happened. Firstly, Biden is largely out of the news. Whatever potential they thought he could have at the beginning has completely fizzled out. Every day is yet another gaffe, and he's largely irrelevant and inconsequential to current events. The puff pieces have dried up in the face of him sundowning at nearly every appearance he makes. So with the presidency out of focus, I think it's allowed other things to come into focus. And that's what's driven this vibe shift. Biden clearly doesn't run the show, and so it's natural that people are searching for the people that do. And now that you have the presidency out of focus and you have COVID out of the limelight, we're able to see clearly. At the same time, you have alternative sources of media gaining more traction and viewership than ever before. Our propaganda is reaching further than ever right now. The alt-right shifted and changed. It adapted and it dropped the more cringy and overtly off-putting aspects of itself. And it also purity spiraled, weeding out the grifters. It also had to deal with censorship, which removed many of the older voices and allowed new creators to rise to the forefront of the new right with new ideas and more reach. As time has worn on, the ideas that the alt-right and the DR have ceaselessly pointed out have become truths that are impossible to ignore. I mean, remember, the establishment is censoring us on every level, and that's the only way that they can maintain their narratives, and that's crumbling. Military enrollment is down. Legacy media is barely hanging on. Invoking the Holocaust every 5 seconds doesn't work anymore. People are starting to look around and say, hey, why the hell are our leaders so indifferent to the well-being of our own country? You mean we just always had $100 billion laying around, but we just gave it to Ukraine instead of us? You mean we could just solve the homeless problem in one day, but we didn't do it until the president of China showed up? It's not incompetence. They just hate you. The Judeo-Christian founding and the greatest ally stuff is the biggest crock of ever. The Jews have an alternative plus sign because they hate the cross and Christians so much they can't even look at a regular plus sign because it looks too much like a cross to them. They're out there spitting on Christians in Israel. And Glenn Beck is like, oh my God, I love you so much. Not even the ideological or theological foundation for support of Israel amongst boomer Christians holds up to scrutiny. And that realization is the shift that I'm talking about. As with most things in conservatism, we're realizing that everything we have been told is a lie. And our alliance with Israel is no different. Anyways, that's all the time I have for today. If you enjoyed this video or type of content that I'm making, consider giving this video a like or maybe subscribing. I'm getting close to 1,000 subs and I would love to have you be one. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.